Hey guys, Cold here. Welcome back to another raid video on the test server today. That means we have access to the mythical champions for you to see and how we play around with them and what my review is of them. Well, this video will be a little bit disappointing because after playing around with all 5 of the mythicals, I have to say that they are a little bit underwhelming. Of course, they have amazing new skills. Of course, they look and feel a little bit powerful, but it's not that crazy. It's not something insane where I would say, oh my god, I need to have this mythical champion. It's like currently how it feels is if I had the decision to pick one of these 5 mythicals, or let's say a Taras, I would pick the Taras. Well, I don't have a Taras, that's why I would do the pick, but I feel that Taras is very unique, void, and has much more power in his kit than these champions. So if void mythicals are something that is coming in the future for raid, I don't know that. I'm not a future teller. If I was, I would play the lottery and not do content on YouTube, right? What I'm saying is, guys, is that I've played around with a 6-star Mesomel Looper Fang with insane stats. The video will be out soon enough after this one. I know everybody will be posting at the same time, but I'm saving this one for a little bit later. I have Scratch also on that video. We had some fun fighting each other with mythical, so that's gonna be a fun one for you guys to see. Insane stats on her, but the results are surprising, and I'm not gonna spoil that on what I say, but overall these champions feel a little bit underwhelming, and I didn't run bad stats on them. I've run like 310 speed on them with a lot of accuracy to land your debuff, let's say with Arbias. I've run for only the Mechanist with the Savage set with 90k, 95k HP, 240 crit damage. I know it's not that much, but HP sets with damage for me are hard to find. And I've run the other damage dealers as well. The problem with some of them is that they have a varying kit. So one of their forms is damage and then the other is support while using the same equipment, when that is not the ideal way to go with many situations, right? You want your support to be able to take a hit or two, right? Like a Duchess. You want your support to survive a little bit. Well, this guy, Siegfried, not only you cannot choose when he transforms, but when he transforms, he's an attack-based support and just gets, boom, one shot, he dies. And I'll show you guys in a little bit. But before that, let me just get the elephant, what do you say? The elephant in the room? No, out of the room. Well, the elephant in the room is the primal shards. How do they look within the summoning portal? Well, we're gonna need to collect 100 primal quartz. We don't know how to collect them just yet. It doesn't give us any info, but what it does, it gives us the chances to get a legendary and a mythical. 1% for Lego and 0.5 for a mythical. That is extremely low. Although I guess it makes sense. How I feel like is the primal shard would be priced a little bit more expensive than the voids, but not as expensive as the sacreds. And will we ever have a mythical 2x? I think we'll have one, even if Playam says no. I think we'll have one, but I don't know when. And I'm definitely not going to be buying these because the chances for a rare, 83%, is insane. There is a mercy system, by the way. After 200 summons without a mythical, the chances increase by 1%. So the absolute mercy would be 300 mythical summons. So if we value them, let's say $5 per shard, which voids are $3 per shard, mythicals will be, let's say, 5 times 300. Yeah 1500 to get one mythical. I wouldn't pay that for one of these champions, right? I just wouldn't. I just wouldn't, honestly. And I'm at a point in this game where it doesn't feel like these champions bring in so much. So these chances look crazy. The legendary ones are kind of cool because 75 summons for the 1% to start going. It means that at 175 you'll get a guaranteed legendary out of a mythical, but it seems very disappointing, honestly. Maybe if they reduce the chances for rares here and the epics was a little bit higher, the legendaries was like 3%. I don't know. I think that would have been a wiser choice, but I'm not the one making the decisions. They have a team for sure smarter than me making all these decisions. It's all about their how much money they make. All right, there will be like a bonus revenant pack here in the shop, 5 primal shards. We don't know the prices here. Although it says claim, I can't tell you guys the price. It just doesn't show, but I'm guessing it's gonna be expensive from this part of the shop. This is the most expensive shop in the game, and this is the forbidden shop. That's how we call it. There's also gonna be books, of course. Of course, there's gonna be books here sold, but again, these will be very expensive. These are again kind of forbidden to buy them, and no other packs popped up here that I could say they relate to primal shards. So that's all the information we have currently within the game about primal shards. I also, since I had the opportunity to get a mythical soul for two of these, all right, I even have one for Garl. What they give you for sacrificing the mythical is, I believe it's double. So if I move my big head, it's double of what you get. So the 6-star for Mesomel, I could sacrifice to get 2,000 of these eternal soul coins. So that would translate to exactly 2 of the eternal soul stone. So having that in mind, it's okay. I mean, it's gonna be there. The mythical chances are there. The rates seem okay, with a 2% here from Mortal Soulstone and 10% from the Eternal Soulstone to get a mythical. That seems okay. It's not 5%, it's not 1%, it's 10%, which is all right. And then they didn't change the legendary one. Basically, they reduced the epic one, which is something I'm happy with, right? And then to get a 6-star out of an Eternal Soulstone, it's again the same. They didn't change anything in this part of the board. So how do these champions feel? So let me just take you in a run to give you an example of one of the mythicals, right? So one of the mythicals, the Sacred Order one, feels very interesting. He has a big kit where he damages. He can do a surplus damage here, and after he gets a kill through. So it's quite significant. But what he lacks in his kit, I've found, is any sort of ignore defense. That would have been a little bit more interesting for this champion, in a place where the attackers we use currently in the arenas have something in their kit where they either smack for a lot of damage, or they do something like an ignore defense. They have something else in their kit. This champion is lacking it. Of course, he has the passive where he saves himself from damage, but because he's an attack-based champion, he's very squishy already, and he does get taken down. Overall, the stats of the mythicals, although advertised by Plarium as being higher than normal legendaries, they are not higher. 1.6k attack is very normal for an attack-based legendary. So the mythical here just has a little bit higher speed. So 110 instead of the 100 that around 100 that you would usually see in a damage dealer. So this guy has 110, and then when he transforms to the other form, his stats change a little bit. He drops in attack. He gains a little bit of defense and a little bit of health. But honestly, if they wanted to keep how this felt, they could have added another passive where his attack now becomes defense or HP, and it gets split in terms of stats. So he would become a tanky support in this form, so that then he could do the revive, become a cleanser here with a block debuff buff as well. So he would be, it would make more sense for this form for him to be a little bit tankier. Because even though he has this skill here, it basically only protects him from that one hit. And when he immediately goes into the next form, because this happens, he basically doesn't have the block damage anymore. He has to revive if he can. And it can be unfortunate, and you might not even see the revives happening. But if we see his damage potential at 12.6, I run him with optimal gear. He can actually farm it in 6 seconds, which is something quite cool. If you run him with the best gear possible, he does a very solid amount of damage. Like, look at that. I don't even have him in my optimal gear right now. I have him in my second best gear, but he does good amount of damage. But nobody cares about Nightmare, all right? In campaign, nobody really cares about this part. What we do care is about the arena, and this is how most of these champions feel like. These champions feel like arena champions more than anything, except for Arby's the Stonethorn, where she feels more like a support, not for arena, but for everybody everywhere else, and especially the dungeons. So are these champions going to be useful for arena? Well, yes, if you don't have anything else that currently can hit hard or have some sort of utility. But overall, they don't feel that amazing. So let's go and have a look a little bit in the arena. I'll be showcasing all of the champions at the same time, just for you guys to see, be hitting some random offenses. I'm not going to show you guys the Skinwalker because that's a dedicated video on its own. It's going to be called like the world's strongest one, because we had some fun in the arena with scratching this champion. But I can show the other 4 in this type of a video and show you guys how they perform and talk about their skills as well. The stats overall, as I've mentioned, look very similar to all legendaries, so nothing out of the ordinary there. So here, what I can do with the support champion is I can either remove buffs and then also place a revive and death, or I can turn meter boost. So let's turn meter boost. I should be able to get a turn here maybe. So here we have the opportunity to do a big hit on enemies, or we do the single target and then maybe we can do something more. But the single target will not even go through. Defense up. We don't have an ignore defense other than Helm Smasher and the Savage set. So I think I'm going to try and do the AoE and see how that performs. Not that great. That was expected with Krisk also in there, and Ursuga, so she's pretty strong. Then this is the dwarf, right? The dwarf is HP based. He's not with insane amount of health since his base is not that high. I couldn't get him to as high as I could get, let's say, my Mountain King. So he can steal buffs from the target. You cannot resist this one. He also single hits. If this attack is critical, he repeats the attack. So he should be able to repeat the attack now on Rotos while also stealing buffs from him. So let's see. There it is. Because of the shield, he couldn't do anything. For some reason, Rotos there went on this guy, who now got the extra turn because Rotos would have killed him. So let's see how much damage we'll do with that one. Let's see. There you go. With the decreased attack, no ignore defense or anything, he basically did 0 damage. And then we have the Orc. The Orc seems a little bit promising because he can reduce the duration of buffs on the attacker. He can heal allies a little bit like what Vogoth does. And he's basically like support. He does a provoke, can apply block buffs. But then we have the metamorphosis skill, okay? This one makes it like a real interesting champion. He can counterattack basically with a 25% chance. Well, it's not like a counterattack. It's like an attack. Ally attack. It's like an ally attack. 25% chance like an ally attack. And also has an AoE damage here and an AoE damage here. So let's see the A2, which also ignores defense and does damage based on buffs on the champions. And buffs on champions is another big part of this because it's a problem since when they do the metamorphosis skill, they lose 1 turn of buffs because they get that extra turn. So like for this champion, you would lose any 1 turn buffs that you had already. So let's see the A2. Look at that damage. Looks pretty solid, but they were squishy enough to die from an Ursuga, which it's kind of nuts. We don't have a reviver here. Let's do the A1 and do a little bit of damage there. But that looked interesting. Let's try out Dead with Jedi with the Yumiko there. So Yumiko is gonna lock us out. That is the big selling point of these mythical heroes, is that the Yumiko locking us out. Wow, we completely got destroyed there. So here, what we want is there's the metamorphosis. What the bug? So what happened there is that my my support champion was too tanky and didn't die immediately, and then Siegfried basically couldn't be on the block damage there and revive everybody with block damage as well. So that was basically an unfortunate situation where we couldn't get a win there. If I try something else, so if I remove this one and put in my Sifi, who's gonna be fast enough to maybe boost. Wow, not fast enough. Not faster than this. Oh yeah, the leader. That's why. That's what happened. So here, this is how I don't like this champion specifically, because you cannot actively use his transform skill, and then when that happens, you're basically screwed. All right, you're basically screwed. Of course, you'll be using them not like this. You're not gonna be using all the mythicals together. What you will be doing is, realistically, you'll have one only, and then utilizing the one as something to fill that role. So Because that's a speed team that is quite annoying. I can't really beat that one. So let's try this one. This looks like quite an annoying team. And let's put in the support there and see how that performs. They have a tremendous amount of power, like 200,000 each, which is insane to think about. There's a ton of buffs here, but we cannot remove them. So what we can do is buff ourselves up. Let's try and do some AoE damage here. Nothing happened. Reaction sets also affect this. So can't really do much. Let's see. Drop in the damage reaction there, procced. So no damage there also. Let's try this AoE. Attacks all enemies. Damage of this skill increases by 30% if this champion's max HP is higher than each target's max HP. Or we can transform into the support of this guy. Or we can try and kill that Leorius before he kills us. Steal 2 buffs of the target. Maybe I'll try that instead on the Leorius. Ugh. Reaction basically made us to not crit, so that was the hit. Here, yeah, let's do the provoke. Kind of need to do that one. If we could land it, well, we couldn't even land it with the increased accuracy there. Surprising. There's the revive on death. There's the counter attack. Okay, we get hit. It's fine. We got revived and then block revived by that dude. That's insane. Let's do the metamorph. We basically lose all our buffs there almost. And let's do this as an AoE. Solid attack there. The unkillable there is saving us. The 3-turn unkillable. And I only won because of that. But you see the problem there with like this guy. This guy is, I feel, the most underwhelming because of how this activates. Maybe it should have been like 2 turns block damage to be really powerful. But everybody else is not that powerful. Like 22,000 HP is not very high. It's not the highest, but I would expect a little bit more because this one's got more, 24,000, and this one really does some solid damage. 1.6k attack. So you see the stats there are not that insane and very comparable to legendary champions, which legendary champions will be way stronger from the start compared to these ones because many will be +2, +3, +4 and empowered, while these ones will take some significant amount of time to get them both awakened and empowered to really show off their power against the opponents. So overall, what are my thoughts on Mythicals? I think it's going to be a cool addition to the game as more and more are added. This first round of Mythicals feels a little bit underwhelming. And of course, I didn't do the best showcase. Like I didn't optimize a full team with one of the Mythicals and make a video dedicated for each one of those. But I don't think that would be the way to go with this showcase, because these are, like many times I do showcases of void champions that we'll never have, right? These are so incredibly difficult to acquire, especially now without any knowledge on how we'll get primal shards and how many we'll be able to get in, let's say, a week, 2 weeks, a month. How many per month can we get? Can we expect to get like 10 a month or something? That would mean, what, 30 months for one mythical? That will be a long time. Well, guaranteed mythical, right? So that will be a long time. So overall, these champions feel a little bit underwhelming. The fact that you can book them for relatively a low amount of books. I've booked all 5 for 50 legendary, well, not legendary, how are these are called? Mythical skill tomes. So I booked all 5 with 50 mythical skill tomes. They gave us the exact amount. So an average of 10 per champion is all right. But again, we don't know the price and how difficult those will be to acquire. And in terms of stats, I didn't run them with low stats, like 4.4k attack here on this form, but then I transform it to the attack-based version of this guy, and she's at the 6.7k with 247 crit damage. So pretty solid overall. My best gear was by far on Mesomel, by the way. I'm not gonna spoil it, but I will spoil it a little bit now that it's the end of the video. 8.2k attack, 328 crit damage. This one was by far the most interesting one in terms of the damage potential, and everyone else was like, okay, I mean, I've got better legendary heroes at the moment, so these don't strike me as something very cool. Garol and Mesomel are will be by far the most wanted. then everyone else of the other 3 will be all right, something that you might use but not really, especially the whales that will be whaling out as they do always, right? So guys, this was the video, the first video out on the mythicals. Wait out on the Mesomel video with the 6-star awakening. Thank you all for watching. It will be soon later on today. Thank you all, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.